Looking to pick up your very own custom sleeves? Well, look no further. Go to yourplaymat.com where you can choose to have your very own image on the back of sleeves, or you can choose from their amazing range of pre-designed artwork ready and waiting for you. Get them shipped directly to your door and use the affiliate link and discount code down below to get 10% off. What are you waiting for? Go and grab your custom sleeves from yourplaymat.com.
What's up YouTube, Dal here from Zeph War Games, and today I am bringing you a Pendulum Magician monstrosity that is 60 cards. So this was obviously the poll that you guys voted on, and outstandingly most of you went for Pendulum Magicians. I've put this build together. It has a brilliant balance of OTK, defense, back row, front row, playing through hand traps, you name it, this deck can do it. So I'm going to dive straight into it as it is a 60 card version and only highlight the cards that are spicy text or different changes. With all that out of the way, please smash that like button, hit the notification bell and subscribe so you don't miss out on any more upcoming content. If this video gets at least 50 likes, I'll do a full test hand video with this deck to show you just how powerful and how many hand traps and interruptions it can actually play through. So, diving straight in with the Pendulums, no questions need to be asked. We are playing triple Harmonizing Magician, triple Chronograph, triple Wisdom Eye, triple Abyss Actor Curtain Raiser as your free extender, alongside triple Oath Magician, so being able to bring a card back from your extra deck to the hand is incredibly important to maintain resource, alongside the double Iris Magician, and then of course Dragon Pit, Celestial, Performer Power Skull Acrobat, one Performer Power Pendulum Sorcerer, one Purple Poison, and then one Time Gazer. Now, this engine is a bit hit and miss. I don't think, like, Skull Acrobat's really good that it's come back because it gives you the search, but the fact that it eats up your normal is very damaging considering that in this particular build, you want your normal summon to be a tuner to then help you extend your plays further. It's still incredibly good, so if you do open it up, do not shy away from it. It is a nice normal summon that can bait out a hand trap or get you a missing piece that you might need, whether it be a scale or whether it actually be your Harmonizing Magician. Other than that, it's a pretty standard lineup. There's no Black Fang in this version. I would probably put Black Fang back in. It just wasn't massively necessary in this particular route that I was going with this deck. Then the effect monsters that aren't Pendulums, we've got triple Tuner Magician. So the fact that this can revive itself from the grave or special itself from the hand as a tuner as well is very important as long as you've got two Pendulum Magicians in your scales. Yes, you do an 800 life point swing, so be very careful of activating this in time, but being able to bring this card on the board and then being able to start link climbing higher is very important. Triple Magician Souls, free extender that is searchable. And then the spice that I used in my last Pendulum Magician build is the Magistus engine. Now ideally, I think this card is either 59 cards or I was missing a Zohar, I couldn't find it. But I would definitely play this at 3 and then Crowley at 1 because what Zohar does is on his own, as a normal summon, he can then set you up, regardless of whether you've got a spellcaster in grave or not, but he then sets you up the Crowley play because he equips himself with a Magistus Moon Maiden. She will then search you out a Crowley. You can then send a spellcaster from the hand to the grave, special down the Crowley, and then this is your instant access into Halley Firebrax, or of course instant access into anything else, looking at like a rank 4, or can also go into a Synchro level 8. On top of that, even if you do Pendulum summon these late on, again, it still gives you that ability of going to Halley Firebrax. Pendulum summoning this late on is not the end of the world because, again, equips itself, and then if you've got a spellcaster level 4 or lower in the graveyard, when it becomes equipped, special it back from the grave, so it counts as additional free extender. Not to mention, if you've played something like Pendulum Call, get your 2 scales that you need, discarding a spellcaster. You then normal summon your Zoro. Zoro then equips itself with Magistus Moon Maiden, effect revive from the graveyard, Magistus Moon Maiden, add the Crowley, and off you go. So this engine works very, very well. I absolutely love it, and I think it's such a nice kind of alternative because, yes, you can special summon out your tuning, but ideally if you don't have to. And the best thing about this deck is that it can build an entire board off of the back of extenders. It can build an entire board off of the back of a normal summon, and then it still maintains its Pendulum summon as well. So even if you get like Ashed, Impermed, Veiled, Nibiru, you can still continue to play, and there's so much more that you can do with this deck. It's crazy. So, which is why we also play a fail-safe, which I'll get to in a minute. Then for the Phantom Knight engine, we've got the 1 Phantom Knight, Cloak, Boots, and the 0 Day. Now, literally, I had this deck at 40 cards, and at the last minute, I was like, oh, let me have a look at my old build that I played. And my old build played the Phantom Knight engine, it played the Codebreaker engine. I was like, I really like this engine. I like what it offers the deck because it literally just says to my opponent, Open Droplets, I don't lose. Open up Dark Ruler No More, I don't lose, because I'm going to have back row of Fog Blade. I'm all going to get a free extender. I'm also going to be able to make Verte Dragoon if I want to, which is our fail-safe. So that literally, if your opponent stops your Pendulum summon, it stops your normal summon, but you still got extenders or vice versa, you just end on a Dragoon, you've still got enough to play up. And keep in mind, your double Iris lets you do double damage with a Dark Spellcaster. So that's always kind of nice, but it does target. So I believe, let me just double check. Yeah, neither play can target with tile effect, so ignore that completely. You can't, let me just double check that this does target. Target one dart, yeah. But regardless, you can still use it to target any of your Dark Spellcasters, which allow you to do double damage. But it also, the idea behind it is you literally just want to pop the double Iris, and the double Iris is going to give you the Time Pendulum Graphs. For the last of the monsters that are not within the main deck, is called not within like the Pendulum or the Spellcaster archetype, is of course Triple Gamma and the One Driver, and then obviously Dark Magician and the Red Eyes. Now the Gamma was a last minute inclusion purely because I was like, yes, it's a 60 card deck, which is a bit silly, but going first, going second, if I do get to a Gamma, it's still very useful. If I want to pull one of these out of the deck, I can bring it out with Halley Firebrax. And there was like, I was kind of tempted to put in a Psyframe Lord Lambda in here, just for the fact that I did have Dagda, realised I didn't have Scythe in the deck, so I had to take it out. And then I was like, okay, well, Lambda could be really good in this deck, purely because then Gamma is always going to be live. And then if I wanted to, when I make my rank 4 using Codebreaker and the Rusty Shade Brigadine, it could actually be a redoer, which will then trigger the Lambda to then get me this. So there's a lot of ways of playing around it. And the idea was literally just being able to get a hand trap that is so damaging to your opponent, plus the fact that it can protect all of your stuff as well. So when you're playing stuff like Desires, Allure, even playing stuff like Pendulum Call, Duelist Alliance, and then Star Pendulum Graph, and Time Pendulum Graph, technically, Fog Blade, Shade Brigadine, if they're all you've got, it still protects all of it as well. So I thought it was a nice inclusion. And again, literally this here, including the Magisters, this is pretty much, this takes up the majority of your additional engines. So that's 10 cards there, so you're 12 cards already. So if you're trying to boot it down to 40, then you'd cut this engine out. But like I said, I just like the fact that this provides you with back row protection, so that if it all goes well, you've got back row, front row, and if it all goes bad, you've got back row to play off on. For the spells, Triple Pendulum Call, purely because it's a 60 card version. If it wasn't a 60 card version, you'd probably cut this down to 1, because it does clash massively with Oath Dragon and Wisdom Eye. Sorry, more Wisdom Eye than Oath Dragon. Obviously, if you've used Oath Dragon before and then activate Pen Call, you can't use it. But as long as you use Pen Call, then Oath Dragon, you're good to go. Obviously, combo with this and Zorro, again, is really important because you ditch a spellcaster, Zorro brings it back, and then you ideally want to try and Gamma to protect this as well. So if you wanted, again, to be cutting this down, back down to 60, you've got to find another 8 cards to cut, and that's going to be 3 trap cards in the Phantom Knights, plus at least 2 Pendulum Calls is a possible option as well, and Red Eyes Fusion, so you're getting yourself back down to a 42 card deck. Speaking of which, Triple Duelist Alliance, yes, you can only use 1 a turn, but what makes this so good is it gives you either a scale, the trap, or the spell, so you've got the ideal searches of everything you need. Again, a last minute addition was the Allure of Darkness, because I bumped up my monster count and they were all going to be darks. Allure of Darkness puts in a lot of work, and it also helps put your spells in the graveyard for your Selene. Triple Desires, again, you don't really mind about resolving Desires. The only time that you resolve Desires and you're like, yeah, cool, this is going to be risky, is if you want to be going for your Bardiche play and you want to be going for your Dragoon play and you banish the pieces. But ideally, you're going to want to use Desires as a desperation play, or you do it after you've made all those plays, things your deck massively, activate the Desires, which is then going to get you into the second Fog Blade, your Time Pendulum Graph, Star Pendulum Graph, or just a recursion cards for your hand. Then finishing off the spells, we've got the 1 Star Pendulum Graph and the 1 Red Eyes Fusion. This put in a bit of work today, which is really nice. It helps protect your Pendulum stuff from being targeted by spell cards, which is really nice. But I did a combo with this where I searched this off, had Magician's Souls, brought Magician's Souls back with Selene. Selene sent this after it already done the search, and then I got additional draw just to kind of help me move my plays further forward. And then for the trap cards, 2 Pendulum Graph. Yeah, I love this card so much. 2 Fog Blade and the 1 Brigadine. Now, it's very rare you actually go through both Fog Blades, but it's one of those ones that if you open up the Brigadine, you get 2 Fog Blades. If you open up a Fog Blade, you're always going to go for, or I always tend to go for, Shade Brigandine and Fogblade, unless I feel 2 Fogblades going to win it, and I don't need that extender here. So puts in a lot of work. The idea is that this is going to give you rank 4 plays. It's also going to give you the ability to go into Link plays as well, should you need to. Whether you're using it to go into an Appaloosa, whether you go into a Link Spider. That is the other kind of questionable moment with this card, is because of it, you do need to play Link Spider. And if you choose not to play it, you can cut Link Spider from your extra deck, which, when we get to it, is very, very tight, which I will also explain the choices within it. So, going on to the extra deck, we'll start with the XYZs. So we've got the Time Star Magician that I never used, but I can understand why, because comboing this off with Scales and Time Pendulum is nuts. And of course, it can search you out your Magician Stars, which is a nice free extender. Dweller was in my side deck today, so I'm going to be showing you like 17 cards. So Dweller was in my side deck, Tornado Dragon was in the main. So these two were in the side. The idea was I was expecting to be facing a lot of graveyard decks, so this came in one game against the Shadow deck, did the work, did what it needed to. Tornado Dragon, the idea is that you're going to make this, use it to pop your double Iris. I don't really like that route of play, but it does happen, so that can put in a bit of work. Then for the Synchros, the one Borreload and the one Omega, these can be cut, less so the Borreload, like the Borreload Savage is what it is. The Omega can be cut if you're not reliant on the Gamma. Sorry for the noise in the background, the washing machine is going mad. Obviously likes pens. Obviously Dragoon. Now, the reason I went with Dragoon is because exactly what I was saying. There's so many decks out there, like your Invoke Dogs, your Tri-Brigades, that can all play a lot of hand traps. You need that ability to play through multiples. And if you ever get to a position where you use your extenders and they break it, and you use your Pendulum Summon and they break it, or your normal summon and they break it, you still have the ability to bring the game back. Keeping in mind that a Zoro on his own is a double extender, as long as you've got a discard for the Crowley. So that is your normal summon that gets you Dragoon. You've also then got the special, or Pendulum Summon, how many of you want. You've got your extenders, whether it be your Chronograph, whether it be your Abyss Actor, you're going to be able to get to a Verte Dragoon. Speaking of which, looking at the Link monsters, of course, you've got the one Link Spider, which could arguably be cut. The one Artemis, which is just for the Magister's Engine. So if you choose not to play the Magister's engine, then this card can come straight out. Halifibrax, such a core and important card alongside Verte. So the idea is that you want to go to Halifibrax because it gets you that Tuning Magician from your deck. Now, throughout playing today, it didn't really go too well with the Halifibrax because I always opened up 5 monsters, which was great because there was all Pendulum Summons and I was able to build my board. But I never had that spell in the grave to utilise Selene early on, which was obviously something I need to look at in the deck. But Halifibrax nonetheless is still very good because even if you choose not to go that route, it still gets you the Tuning Magician from the deck. You can still then make your Verte Anaconda. And then you've got the Tuning Magician that can come back as long as you've got the 2 Pendulum Scales. So put in a lot of work today as well. Continuing on with the Link monsters, we've got the one IP Masquerena. This is purely just to help make you your Bardiche. Because if you don't have 2 Darks on the board, but you've got... if you've got 2 Darks on the board and one of them, a third is a Light, you need to turn the Dark and a Light into an IP Masquerena, which then lets you get into Bardiche. We've then got the Codebreaker engine. So again, the Codebreaker engine just puts in a lot of work. The idea is that once you get Selene, you can bring back, ideally, if you've brought back the Tuning Magician with Selene, all you then need is another extender or your normal summon, because again, keep in mind that you can normal summon and still maintain your Pendulum Summon. Link those off into the Virus, and then Virus goes off from there. And using the Virus combo, that nets you a Bardiche plus a Fogblade plus a rank 4. Which again, making the rank 4 can be an Abyss Dweller or Tornado Dragon, or if you just wanted to use them as Link fodder, can go into Verte, can go into Appaloosa, anything like that. So you pretty much have a lot of options there. So there you go, there's the Bardiche, there's the one Selene. You could play 2 if you want, I've only playing 1. And then obviously the other cards that I played today was Boral Sword and Appaloosa, but Access Code is definitely the better option because you're going to get Darks, Waters, definitely throughout your combo. You'll get Darks, Darks, Waters, Lights, and maybe even an Earth. So definitely going in there. That being said, like I said, my side deck was 1 Omega. I think I got it wrong, I was trying to remember. It was the 1 Omega and the 1 Abyss Dweller, I believe. Like, these weren't mandatory to play. So this is kind of what my extra deck was looking like in the main, and it works really well. Like, you do burn through it a lot. Like, once I probably made this, I only got the Zoro playoff once and it got stopped, so I never made this. I never made the Time Star. I made Savage once. I made Appaloosa once. Not Appaloosa, sorry, IP once. No, actually, I played IP a couple of times. Everything else here, I made pretty much every single game, apart from Access. I was using Boral Sword. So, definitely Access is the upgrade for that. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the deck. I've had a lot of fun putting this together. I had a lot of fun playing it. Like I said, I started off with 40 cards. I looked at my old build and I was like, damn, I really like the way that that deck and that version operated. So I wanted to upgrade it and go a little bit different. And I didn't really have the time to cut the cards out. So I was like, you know what, I'm just going to put these 20 cards in, go to 60 card pendulums. It still works. And it actually worked really well. I don't think I ever really bricked at any point. I think there was probably maybe one game where I needed my opponent to not stop a certain component and I was able to good to go. But they ended up opening up Gammas. They opened up Gamma and Veiler. And the play was that I needed one more extender and I would have been able to go Halley Firebrax, bait out the Veiler, and then go into Verte Dragoon. But yeah, they were able to stop me on that one, which was, you know, it wasn't too bad. It is what it is. But yeah, I still really like it. Like I said, I've shown you kind of like the 20 cards you want to cut out. So if you want to take this down to 40, I'll just quickly show you in the last couple of minutes. The cards I would honestly take out, like you could arguably consider taking out this, but the idea is that it's a quick way of getting into this. But if you open up any of these pieces, that combo kind of slows down. But the 20 cards that you would take out would literally be, move these out of the way. Oh, the only downside of playing 6 cards where shuffling is a biatch. So 3 there. Obviously you take out the Goon package, so that's your 5 there. Then you would take out Phantom Knights, the Code Breakers, Phantom Knight pieces. So straight away that's your 10 cards there, 11, 12, and then 13, 14, 15 would be the Allures because you're not going to have that many highs. And then 16, 17 is currently on a 43 card deck. And then it's up to you what else you would probably want to cut from that point. But these are the cards that I would like are instant. You take out if you wanna be playing 40. But honestly, there's no issue playing 60 because you want to bury your bricks, which are these. You want to bury your Phantom Knight monsters as best as you possibly can. I definitely saw 0 day way too many times, so I need to up my shuffling game. But yeah, you just basically bury all the bits you don't want because you've got so many different consistent routes to get to the pieces that you do want that it's not that big of a deal. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. Until next time, guys, as absolutely always, by hitting that like button, getting it up to 50 likes will unlock a full test hand video. But as absolutely always, stay safe and happy dueling.
Looking to pick up your very own custom sleeves? Well, look no further. Go to yourplaymat.com where you can choose to have your very own image on the back of sleeves, or you can choose from their amazing range of pre-designed artwork ready and waiting for you. Get them shipped directly to your door and use the affiliate link and discount code down below to get 10% off. What are you waiting for? Go and grab your custom sleeves from yourplaymat.com.